Hello, everyone. Right back at you for part two of my Christmas special. So I told you I'd be right back. But anyway, in 1995, the ECW wrestler Balls Mahoney actually went to WWF and he played the character of X Claus, and he went up against Scott. Something Scott. I'm trying to remember what his last name. Anyway, Scott on Monday Night Raw. That was in 1995. Uh, that was during the Christmas special, which he was coming out. He wore the instead of Santa Claus wearing white and red clothes, he had black and red on. So he was kind of like, I guess you call it like the South Pole version of Santa Claus. The North and South Pole. So, but yeah, that was one time deal. Then at one time, they had what they call the good Santa Claus versus the bad Santa. Mark Henry was the good Santa Claus, and Damien Sandow was the bad Santa. Which they had all the presents out there and everything. And when they had the match, one of the boxes, Mark Henry lifted up the box, and it was a toilet. So, and he put Damien Sandow's the bad Santa's head down in it. And of course, Mark Henry did the sleigh bell. He just renamed it that, and he was originally the world's strongest slam, and he won the match. Uh, One of the other Christmas, it was in 2011. It was not Mark Henry, Randy Orton against David Otunga. I was trying to remember how you say his name, David Otunga, which was a lawyer at the time, and I think he went back to just being straight out a lawyer. But anyway, they had the match and everything, and during the match, Randy Orton at the time, he was getting a big kick out of listening to the fans out to the ring. He was going along with them, playing along with them. He was feeding off of them, basically. He was having him a good old time out there. Anyway, he takes a wreath that they had hanging on the side of the ring post outside, and he grabs a hold of it and he puts it over his head, and he hollers out to him, "Ho ho ho," and he uh, throws him back into some more Christmas trees out there. And it was just one big comical type match. Randy Orton was having a good old time in it, which that's all that counted. It was both probably they was both having a good time in it, but Randy Orton was really showing it. And during the support the troops, this is the thing I never could actually figure out. I don't know what he had on his face for a beard for the life of me. I mean, which I tell you what it actually looked like, but I ain't gonna say it on here. But JBL, John Bradshaw, comes out. He was wearing the Desert Storm type, uniform they wore. The soldiers wore, for the desert, combat. He had one of the awfulest looking Santa Claus bears I've ever seen in my life. He gets out there, this was another case of good Santa Claus versus bad Santa Claus. Well, all this situation and everything, Mick Foley comes out as Santa Claus. And it was, of course, everybody was going crazy because it was Mick Foley or Cactus Jack, Dude Love, whatever you want to call him. He comes out there, of course, Mick Foley does it. He was like Captain Lou Albano. He did a terrific Santa Claus. Uh, of course, he goes out there. He has Mr. Sacco, and he puts it on JBL, and he wins the match. Uh, but the next one is a pretty funny thing because you don't really see. I don't ever see him being this, in this character, this specific zone that he was in. It was Bubba Claus versus Tajiri Claus. Of course, Tajiri was like the great Muta and uh, the great Kabuki and all that. You know, he was a little Japanese wrestler. He spewed out the green mist and everything. But Tajiri Claus and Bubba Claus. So, Bubba Ray will get out there. He would knock down Tajiri and all that, and he would grab his. He had a pillowcase up under his stomach to make him look, jolly, Santa Claus. And he'll sit out there. He'll say in a real deep voice out there, go ho 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 ho. And anyway, during the match, Devon Dudley comes out there and tries to interfere in the match and everything, and that gave Tajiri. While the referee wasn't looking, Tajiri spews out his mist out of his mouth, but this time it was red mist for basically Christmas. And of course, Tajiri beats Bubba Claus, which, Bubba Ray laying there in the ring looking shot with that red crap all over his beard. It looked nasty. I ain't gonna tell you what it looked like, but a lot of you grown up men out there and women would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was some of the funny, moments for WWE/WWF at the time. But I'm going to go back a little bit further now. Kane, the big red monster, or D. White Yakovich, the dentist. The dentist thing didn't go over too well with me on that, or when he portrayed the fake Diesel. That just didn't really suit him. But now his Kane persona, that fit him perfectly. But now before that, he actually had a character when he was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling called the Christmas Creature. Of course, a lot of people didn't like it. Jim Cornette, one of them, and everything. Which, in a way, I actually liked that whole thing because that was something very original. They should have done a lot more with it than what they did, but they could have portrayed off something kind of like Kane, because he was mysterious. He was from Christmas, and he was kind of like Krampus. Um, but yeah, that was a very, in my opinion, a very good thing. Very good originality thing. Of course, it didn't go off too well. His Kane, the big red monster, was his biggest uh, act. That's what he went with. That's what made him a lot of money. Which he made. He even made 2 horror movies. He done so well as that part. But Kane is he was like the Undertaker. He was a very good character. There was very little makeup they had to put on him for the movie. He could do his own stunts as Glenn Jacob is what he went by in the movies. I think that's his actual name. I know the last name is Jacob, but he's but that was just perfect for him. That movie. I mean, he was made a very good horror film villain slasher movie. He was the cool Jason Voorhees. He was the real life Jason Voorhees. Uh, yeah, that was some Christmas times have always been, a big deal for me too, as growing up and everything. I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen on pro wrestling for Christmas, like King Kong Bundy on the front of the WF magazine wearing a Santa Claus suit and had, I can't remember what his name is now. He was on the Bobby Heenan show. He was the guy that had the glasses, the nasty oily hair. He even went out with as the manager or the mascot for the Bushwhackers there for a little bit. He was a dweeb. He was just, he was like a computer nerd. Everybody picks on him, type guy. Uh, but yeah, he's the one that he was sticking, like King Kong Bunny was cramming his head down to the Christmas bag. What for, I have no idea. But even Yokozuna got into the Santa Claus after he wore the Santa Claus hat and had the jolly Santa Claus jacket on, all that, which I remember one episode of WWF, I think it was Shotgun Saturday Night, I believe is what the program was called. I don't know why they didn't go over too big, but it showed Santa Claus sitting there And Santa Claus' eyes were crossed. He was grunting and moaning. King Mabel was actually sitting in his lap. I mean, that's a lot to sit in your lap. Anyway, on the next, it went off on that, and then the next little short scene they showed of it shows Santa Claus sitting in his lap, and he says, "Is that better?" And he says, "Much better." So, but yeah, that was some always some funny, moments of WWF, WWE. But Mick Foley has played Santa Claus quite a bit, a bunch of times on WWF slash, like I said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and just call it WWF. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not really sure who. I don't know if anybody else back then actually played the persona of the Santa Claus that I didn't really catch on to. Like, oh, Vince never did wear nothing like that. He never did do that whole thing. I guess he just, well, he's rich, so he ain't got to do that. He's got all that down pat. He's a big decision maker. He's the head man. He's all that. So he ain't gonna do all that. He ain't got to do that. But yeah, Kane. I seen one where I remember D Generation X was after Stephanie. So Stephanie had Kane as her bodyguard to look out for if DX decides to go after her. And anyway, during this whole ordeal, Mick Foley goes off talking about, would it make him a tough guy to beat up the fake Santa Claus and all that? And he goes into the boiler room, and of course, he whoops all them four Santa Clauses right off the bat. He whoops them. Well, there's four more show up. He whips them, but he gets a glass of like a, I guess you call it like a shadow box. I guess is what you call it. It's got the box. Well, it's like you put into the when you putting up the windows in your house after you build them, the wooden side, and it's got the glass in it and everything. But anyway, he was holding that fisting to hit this one Santa Claus that was on the floor. Well, lo and behold, Triple H comes out of nowhere, dressed up like Santa Claus, and hits Mick Foley in the head and in the face with the glass. And of course, you see Mick Foley laying there holding the side of his face, which there was really no blood, so we know he didn't really get cut or anything like that. I don't guess he did. I mean, if he actually did get hurt, I never heard nothing about it, but somehow or another, Triple H winds up winning the Boiler Room match because Mick Foley was the original Boiler Room match wrestler, like The Undertaker is with the Hell in the Cell. Uh, but that was some this year and last year, WWE didn't really do a whole lot. They ain't been doing a whole lot with the Christmas act like they usually do. I mean, you start to think about it, Christmas, well, especially down my way, in my areas and everything, people don't really get into that Christmas spirit no more. It's sad, because that's the one thing, it comes once a year, of course, I figured when all this junk that's going on now gets over with, I figure a lot of people will start celebrating Christmas hard and heavy next time in order to, show their appreciations and all that with our society, but that's for something else. I'm not going to get into that. But Christmas, during WWF Christmas, I always look forward to, I never, they didn't, WWF didn't do a whole lot at Halloween, but I always can count on them during Christmas, I still love to go back and watch Tuesday Night Titans on Christmas Eve, or Christmas shows they have on there. But anyway, see, what was else I was like going to talk about on Christmas? Oh, uh, if y'all remember back in well, it was back in the 80s and early 90s when WWF, well, what's it say, like 1986, 1987, Tuesday Night Titans and everything. You remember how when Vince McMahon had his little desk on the side and he had the couch and the table with the LJN ring and all that, you'll see the Christmas ornaments and candy canes and all that. It was always a treat. Well, just like with Gorilla Monsoon, and Bobby the Brain Heenan with their little segment on old, I think it's on I think it's Old School is what it's on. They show that particular segments of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan on WWE Network. Gorilla Monsoon always a treat to see him because he always brings joy. I mean, I figured Gorilla Monsoon will play the part of Santa Claus. He just looks like a person that would have pulled that off really well. But yeah, they exchanged gifts on there. Heenan would always come up with some excuse, and Gorilla Monsoon would say him and a bunch of the other guys would have get all chipped in for Bobby Heenan, and Bobby Heenan would come up with some excuse about the people that he ordered this from didn't do their job, and they didn't do this and that, and of course, Gorilla Monsoon, he wasn't going to take nothing like that. He knew something was up. But anyway, I guess I'm going to go ahead and let this go. I hope everybody has a great, great Christmas and a very Merry Christmas to everyone out there at night. And I hope everybody enjoyed these videos and this year's videos I have done. I'm not sure exactly what day on after New Year's, January, that I'm going to do my next show, but I hope to see everybody out there come back. I hope I get more viewers, more likes, more subscribers, and everything. And I wish everybody out there a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. From the Highlander Wrestling Show, everybody here on the Highlander Wrestling Show includes my saying of Merry Christmas. Uh, my two, my wife and I, two dogs, Pearl and Hope, wishes everybody a Merry Christmas. My grandmother, everything else, and hope everybody out there enjoys this really very much. And I will see y'all on the New Year's one day or whenever I get it started back up. And everybody have a great one. Hope everybody gets everything they want and plenty of wrestling collecting stuff. So see y'all and ho ho ho, Merry Christmas.